What's up, guys? It's Chris here with Prestige Auto. Today we've got this Buick Rendezvous in the garage. We're going to be changing out the wheel bearing today. It's making a grinding, roaring sound whenever we're driving down the road. So we've got the new wheel bearing right here. I think it was about 45 bucks. So let's get our tools together and I'm going to show you guys how to change that thing out. Alright guys, so we've got a few tools together to go ahead and get this job going. You're going to need something to take your wheel off. This is a 19 millimeter. So we'll get the wheel off. Alright, so one way to check for your wheel bearing is, so this one's just wobbly. That's a dead giveaway. You can grab it and jiggle it around. Sometimes it won't jiggle, sometimes it'll just roar. So you'll want to rotate it and listen for a roaring sound. But this one right away we can tell. I don't know if you can see it from there. I'll bring the camera a little bit closer and let you see this. Okay, so I'm still not sure if you're going to be able to see this or hear it, but watch. Yeah, you can hear it wobbling in there. I don't think you can see it, but you can definitely hear it. Shouldn't do that. Should be solid. So let's go ahead and get this wheel off and I'll show you guys the next steps. Alright, we've got that wheel off and we're going to have to take off this big nut right there to get that CV axle free. So it'd be a good idea to use some stuff like this, the PB Blaster, and go ahead and spray around here. And we've got to take this brake caliper off too. So there's two bolts on it. It looks like there's one right there, and there's going to be another one below it down there. You can see right, it's right there. Those two got to come off. So go ahead and give it a little spray too. A few other things. We're going to have to take this knuckle free right here so that we can get that CV axle out. So go ahead and spray these right here, right there on both sides. And that should be good enough, I think. We may have to take this tie rod end off, but I'm not 100% sure. We'll just see when it gets to it. But definitely, that looks like crap right there. We're going to go ahead and blast that down some. Let's get it. Spray it real good because that's got to come off. All this is rusted up in there. Let's give a couple sprays. Ooh. Alright, we'll let that soak for a second. We'll get some tools together to take this stuff off. I'm not sure what size these are yet, but I'll find out and I'll let you know. Let's go get them. Alright, we're going to go ahead and get this brake caliper off. It's a 15 millimeter, and it's a good idea to have a bungee with you so that when you get it off, you can strap it up here to the springs. I usually strap it up there to keep it up out of the way. So remember, there's two. There's one up top, one on the bottom. Get your 15 millimeter and let's go ahead and get this thing freed up. Alright, we've got that caliper off and you can see it's strapped up there. That was pretty simple. So now that that's off, the rotor, it just slides right off. Not all of them are like that. Some will have like a Phillips head right here, or like some type of T25 or something like that. Sometimes one there, over here, but not all of them. This one just pulls right off. That's simple. And that exposes our wheel bearing there. That's the part we need to change. So let's get this rotor out of the way and see what we need to do next. All right, we've got that center nut off there. It was a 34 millimeter. And then we had to take, let me just flashlight up out of the way a little bit. We had to take these two off. It was weird shaped. Let me show you. So it was like this. It was an 18 millimeter wrench would go on it. A socket wouldn't fit, but 18 millimeter wrench. You see it down there. You can hold this still. You actually don't have to because it's like that right there. So it like mashes itself in there so that it doesn't spin. And the other side of it was, let's see, a 21 millimeter. 21 millimeter for this other side here. And then you had to beat the heck out of it with a hammer to get it out of there. So another thing we need to do is over here, your ABS plug. Just take you some needle nose pliers and squeeze this in right here and pop that off and unplug that, because there's going to be a plug running on the back side of this. So let's go ahead and unplug this. And then now that we've got these bolts out, we're going to try to grab it right here and just pull it down. And it should just kind of pull free, and then we'll reach around the back here and grab this CV axle and just jiggle it out so that we can get access to this wheel bearing. There's 3 bolts, it looks like, that holds it in. There's one there, one here, and one on the other side. But you got to get to them from the back side here, and this CV axle is just in the way. So again, let's try to let's pull this thing down and see if we can't get that CV axle out of there. Alright, we've got that free. So you could see that I had to put a little pry bar up here and pry on that a little bit. You might not have to yours, but mine was a little stuck. But it'll come free. You might have to pry it a little bit, get it down, and then just reach back here, like I said, and grab this CV axle and just pull it free. You can get it out of there. Be careful not to pull from this side here, because it's up in there like this with the spline, and you don't want to mess up that that seal in there and cause it to leak. So just be careful with this. Just set it to the side and you're good to go.
So, not now.
Alright, now to get to this wheel bearing off, like I said, there's 3 bolts on the back there. Let's see, there's gonna be one right here. That one's got a nut on it holding this bracket. So you'll take that nut off, and then there's a bolt underneath that. And then we've got one up here. I'm not sure the size on it yet, but I'll go get the socket and find out. We'll take those 3 out, and then you might have to tap this a little bit and break it free. And then you can see your wire right here coming out of the back of it. You want to make sure you unplug that and pull that out with it. So let's get that socket and take those 3 off. Alright, we got that son of a gun out of there. There it is. Man, that thing looks like crap. Here's the new one right here. I bet this thing's gonna be rolling smooth as eggs once we get this in. So, you seen we got the 3 bolts out from the back there, and then we just had to give it a little tappity tap with the hammer to get it out. We're just gonna clean up in here a little bit and get all the junk out. Wipe all this off. And then we'll take our new one there. So there was this little plate in between the wheel bearing and the bracket here, so just make sure you put that back on in between them. So it's pretty simple. Got your plug here. The plug was if you're looking at it, it was up here, kind of coming out the top, so that you could plug it into that. Just make sure your plug's pointing up, slide it into place, get your bolts back on, and we'll start the process of putting this thing back together. guys, we got her all finished up. That was a pretty simple job. I hope that helped you with your wheel bearing issue and on how to fix it. Please like the video and please subscribe. Thanks for watching.